We're here today with Mike Hauke of Tony Boloney's. And look, I usually will read out a description of what Tony Boloney's is, but you know what? No better way than to get you to, or have you explain exactly what the vision and really how to describe Tony Boloney's as a concept.
So, I mean, Tony Boloney's is basically we don't give a shit, and we make what we want to make. We execute what we want to execute. Today, for instance, we put online the Jamaican beef patty pizza, which is called the Wagwan. And, oh my God, it's blasphemy to the pizza. My grandfather's rolling in his grave. And I'm like, hey, you're probably right. He probably is rolling.
The pizza purist.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, you can't call this pizza. And Jamaicans are going crazy. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think they kind of appreciate it. And plus,
I agree.
I love Jamaican beef patties.
Yeah.
And if I like to eat it, and they can make it in pizza form or sub form. So basically, Tony Boloney's, our whole mantra is if we can buy it, we can make it. That's the first way I start off, because that's how I started the business. I didn't know anything about food service. I never had a job. I was in my own business. I worked for my family growing up, collecting rent with my father, crack needles in Asbury Park, selling umbrellas at flea markets. So I learned all the hustling and whatever from that. And I'm not a pizza guy. I'm not a restaurateur. So even with food, if I can buy it, there's got to be a way I can make it. Yeah. And then at least there you could start from an honest process. And if I want to make a Jamaican beef patty, stuffed pizza, mac and cheese with curry ranch and this, there's a probability that I'm going to fly to Jamaica. I'm going to see them making how they do it, flaky butter, crust, curry, allspice. I'm going to smoke some weed, ganja, whatever. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to have fun with it. And I'm going to come back inspired and be like, yo, we're making this into a pizza.
Amazing. And no surprise to me that our team partnered with you a few years back. We were just talking about the elf pizza. Yeah. I mean, we made an elf pizza.
Yeah. That was, first of all, it was so good. I'm not a dessert fan. I don't really like dessert so much. Yeah. It was so good, except that one slice weighed 5 fucking pounds. It was so thick. Homemade chocolate pasta. It was insane.
Chocolate pasta with candy cane, all the stuff
Oh my God.
And I also remember for a Cinco de Mayo, we ordered the taco pizzas.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Those were, it was incredible.
And those are labors of love. We make the tortillas in-house.
Yeah. From
Maseca, and we make carne asada brisket. we I don't even know if I make money on that pizza, to be honest. But regardless, it's people like it, and it keeps everyone in a non-robotic form, which I appreciate.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And so, talk about the first location. This was sort of the anchor location, the location that kind of made it happen. And you've expanded to 4 locations. A lot of shop owners are trying to go through the same journey. And in many ways, incredibly rewarding. In some ways, very challenging. I always tell people, talk to other operators who have expanded to multiple locations, because it's not the same business anymore. It's a very different business. But talk about the first one. How did it come about, and then expansion? So
basically, my father called me up one day and was like, hey, listen, do you want to buy a building in the Atlantic City Inlet? They're building MGM Casino. This is 2005, 2006. I had a business in Chelsea, a business in Bushwick, different businesses, unrelated to food or whatever. And I was like, I don't know. I just got back from college a few years back. I tried buying a property in New Bedford. I saw a dude get thrown out of the 3rd floor.
What?
Stabbed in the middle of the street with a metal rake. Another guy came out of nowhere, stabbed him with a shard of glass and a fork. Another guy hit him over the head, dragged him off. My realtor pulled out a gun. My father, who's from Newark, is like, oh, whatever. I don't know. All right, we can go see the property now. I'm like, are you fucking nuts? I'm not going to be a landlord. You're out of your mind. Somebody said, hey, do you want to buy this property in Atlantic City? I'm like, I don't know about that. He's like, listen, we're going to outfit it, and we'll rent it out to a bodega, and they'll feed the construction workers, and it'll be a real estate play, which he's in. I was like, all right, whatever, No one wants to rent it out. Everyone who was going to rent it out pulled out. So then I got my buddy Nick from Brooklyn. He came down. He lived there for a year, ran this bodega, selling frozen shit to construction workers, and just easy, nice, whatever, coffee and whatever. And then Revel, the casino at the time, went out of business. China pulled their funding. They couldn't finish construction. So now I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with this thing? My father's like, yo, what are we going to do? How about I just start coming down there a little bit and messing around with recipes? And instead of buying pizza dough, we'll make it. I asked my guys that were there currently, I was like, hey, listen, how do you make pizza dough? Like, I literally don't know. And they're like, oh, I'm not going to give you my recipe. Okay, call my food supplier. Hey, I got to like make, just keep buying frozen dough. Keep buying pizza sauce. And I'm like, no, I want to make it. And they were like, oh, no, you don't need to make it. I'm like, you know what? You're gone. You're fired. Fuck you. Close it down for a month. Came up with all my own recipes. The first thing we opened back up is like Tony Boloney's. I made
How did you come up with Tony Boloney's?
Actually, my father.
Great name, by the way.
Well, my great grandfather called my grandfather, who called my father, who called me, who now I call my sons. Hey, little Tony Boloney's means like bad, naughty kid.
Yeah.
And like if you watch movies from the 50s, the father comes in with horn rimmed glasses, a pipe in his mouth, a briefcase. Hey, little Tony Boloney's, get upstairs and wash your face. Like it's like an endearing term for a naughty kid.
Yeah.
So
troublemaker.
What better fitting for a pizzeria that the owner, his favorite food's Indian food. He's Jewish and Roman Catholic.
Rule breaker.
And yeah, just like I don't care.
Yeah.
The first day out of the gate that we made our own pizza, made our own dough, whatever. I had no mozzarella cheese. I had cheddar cheese from like Sam's Club. I didn't even know what I was doing. And this is when I'm like trying to develop recipes and whatever. And I made this pizza. It was a monstrosity. It was so ill-shaped and like the dough was not proofed. It was crusted on the outside because it was supposed to air. And pizzeria operator knows the deal that I'm talking about. And the lady came in and she was like, oh, I'll buy a slice. And I'm like, all right. I cut a slice of it, serve it to her. She's like, yo, this is the best pizza I ever had. What's this called? I was like, Cincinnati style. She's like, oh, yeah, I want Cincinnati. And to this day, she still comes in once a week. She's like, you making Cincinnati pizza? And we're like, oh, nah. It was a special thing we did the first day.
Yeah.
So then basically from there, I started creating our own recipes, started having fun with it, realized you don't need to make dough how they're telling you how to make dough. You don't need to use that kind of yeast, that pizza sauce. You can use Jersey tomatoes. You can roast them down. You can, and I started just messing around. Like, why use marinara if you could do like tikka masala sauce or a makhani sauce, or if you want to make like a tahdig pizza, like a Persian crust, like you don't need to use dough. I'll make tahdig as the crust, and then we'll put some fasanjoon or whatever on, and I got into it and I liked it.
Incredible.
And I started, doing it, and people started catching on, and casino execs at the time started coming in, supporting me. Oh my God, this is awesome. Like, this is like a little hidden gem. Meanwhile, the kitchen was separated from the customer area by plastic lattice. Like,
it's a small, tiny place.
Not even that. It was just a dump.
Yeah.
Like, we had honey buns and toilet paper on the rack still. Like, it was a fucking dump. But they started coming in little by little. I got rid of the lattice and I put up a wall. I built,
Yeah.
And we started doing it. And it took off.
How long ago was this?
That was 2010. 2009 we opened up. 2010 we closed. 2010-ish, 11, we reopened kind of back up as Tony Boloney's.
Amazing.
And then from there we got a food truck. And then...
When did second location happen?
So then I opened up in Hoboken in 2014 or 15. And...
I thought that was always the first one for some reason.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that.
Because of just the proximity to like people.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's 50,000 people that live in Hoboken. And then you have access to people in the city. And, even now, like, people come into the shop.
It's become a tourist destination at this point.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, they come in, like, where are you from? And they're like, oh, we're from, like, Arkansas. And you're like, oh, wow, like, that's great. Like, what are you doing here? And they're like, oh, like, we went to the city. We went to Katz Deli, Magnolia Bakery. Now we're in Hoboken going to Carlo's Bakery, Cake Boss, and Tony Boloney's. And I'm like, wow, like, that's part of your hit list. Yeah. And, like, that's a lot, depending on the season, People from Europe, people from Germany, they come in, and it's just like, holy crap, like, you know about us. And they're like, yeah. But I'll wear this. I'm in Sicily 4 times a year. I'll wear this in Rome when I do a stopover, or Iceland. And people are like, oh, yeah, I know you. I seen you online. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I want to get back to this building the brand, social media, all that. Talk about the both pros and cons of expanding to multiple locations.
Yeah. So, the unit economics are what I went to school for. Now, granted, I just got fucked up in school, smoked a lot of weed, and I don't even know how I graduated. I think my dad paid off like the dean. I swear to God. I don't think he did, but he maybe did.
I mean, you shared a model with me recently, and I was like, holy shit, this
that
is
was like straight
awesome.
quant. Yeah.
But it's, I mean, you got to give yourself more credit. It's one of the best models I've seen in terms of order economics for a shop.
Yeah, so unit economics is what I studied in college. I went to UMass, and it was like resource economics was the major. I don't know what the fuck that means. It's like the rice trade in Bangladesh and how that affects us. I mean, I don't even know. But unit economics is like what I really liked about it. So everything I do starts with unit economics. And when it comes down to it, on the store level, we have like a commissary. So we hub and spoke our sauces, a lot of our proteins, all of our mozzarella. We have a mozzarella laboratory in Atlantic City that manufactures. And the toughest thing is that, you know, you want the brand to be able to resonate with customers without you being there.
Yep.
And I like to be there. I like to be, hey, what's up? Talking shit. I don't even make money when I'm in the store. I give away free stuff, you know. But when it comes down to it, the people on your team have to be able to share that same enthusiasm or the importance of like portion control or unit economics or, you know, how to rectify an issue with the customer if there's a refund or they didn't like something. And that was like the toughest thing for me because I do have great people. You know, Cream and Edward have been with me since we opened Hoboken. I have Fernando in Atlantic City, so he's like 15 years. Kareem and Edward, 11 years. Benito, and like everyone like are like from day one basically in my shops. But to get them into that mode, not that they're bad people or whatever, to really make them understand. I know that if it was your slice of pizza, would you eat that?
Yep.
It's not just about like, you know, selling it. It's just like, would you eat that?
Yep.
And then like sometimes, you know, with expansion, when we open new stores, the employees that are working, you know, they maybe don't understand. They've never worked in the industry, or they don't have an entrepreneurial mindset, where they don't understand the value of these things. And I have to break it down on their level to make them understand. Like, what did you do? What did you do before Tony Boloney's? I sold drugs. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I slang weed on the side.
Is your weed dealer?
Maybe. No. I don't mix business with other business. And it's like, okay. I'm trying to think like, okay, what else did you do? Oh, I don't know. Like ran the streets or whatever. I'm like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
No judgment made, by the way. You're here. You want to work. You're enthusiastic about it. You want to start a journey in some way, direction. Okay. But it kind of trickles down with every single thing that we do. And there's so many variables and there's so many spinning plates in this business. So an expansion, like to me, I have to back myself off sometimes. I have to get a little slower and say, okay, hold up a second. All right, nice and easy. How do we get to this person? You know what? We're not going to answer the phones right now. Let's not answer the phones right now. Let's just focus on this. Once you get this and handle this, then we can answer the phones.
One step at a time.
Yeah, and like to me, dude, I'm blah blah blah. Yeah, what's up? What do you need? I got it. Da, da, da. That's me though.
That's you.
That's me.
Yeah, but not everybody's going to be you because you're the owner. Yeah.
Right.
Shifting gears a little bit, so going back to the brand and the recognition, talk about the investment both in time and maybe capital on you really how to get the brand out there. How were you able to get Tony Boloney's to go from, you know, a hole in a wall spot in Atlantic City to within relatively a short amount of time? We're not talking about, 50 years here, to where it's such a well-known entity and brand in the pizza community and really just restaurant space.
I mean, I hustled so hard. I was living in New York, Upper East Side, with my then girlfriend. We then got engaged. I then decided to come down to Atlantic City and start spending a day, then 2 days. I was taking the Greyhound bus. It was called the Lucky Strike or something like that. They give you a $25 gambling credit.
Atlantic City.
It was from the Port Authority in the basement. You basically were gagging as you walked down the bus waiting for it. Every time I took the bus, and by the way, love Greyhound, Nate and all the guys, Mike out there, you guys are the best. I love it. But back in the day, it was like a wild journey. But I do it like once, twice a week. And every time I was down there, I would just think like, what is my time worth? If I'm going to be spending time down here, I'm not like tucking away. I'm not like hiding. I need to like produce. My investor my father, you know, has expectations, and he really didn't. He's like, oh, shit happens, it happens. Yeah. But like, how do I make this work? So every single day, and I like graphics, I like Adobe Illustrator, and I do my own stuff. I would put together a flyer, and it was like specials, and I would fax them to every place. I then wake up at like 6 a.m. I would drop them off at all the doctor's offices in Atlantic City. I would go to every casino front desk and give them menus. I would literally I would hustle. And I'd beat the pavement. I'd pull my food truck on the boardwalk. The mayor called me up, was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, get your food truck off the boardwalk. It's going to like fall through. I was like, I'm just giving out flyers. She's like, I get it, but you can't do that. Can you just like do something, you know? So between those things, I literally just was razor focused on awareness, getting it out there. But on top of that, we started doing farmers markets, and I'm making the mozzarella all night long. I'm then selling it at the farmers market because there's an opportunity for me to do so at 7 a.m. until noon. I'm then coming back, passing out for a couple hours, and then I'm working in the shop until 8, 9 o'clock closing, and then I'm doing it again the next day. And I did this for like years. Not that I had to or I couldn't hire someone to do it. I just wanted to make sure whatever I was doing was 100%. With the customer-facing side to the ops side to the money deposit side to whatever it is. And like, there's a lot of tools out there now like Slice that streamline those things. But back in the day, it was like, that's what you had to do. And on top of that, I like to be different, not because I like to shock people. It's because this is what I like.
When you launched, like, did you have like a specific vision where you're like, I need to get to 4, then 10, 20 locations, or were you just like trying to make it? Like you were just trying to support your family?
I mean, it was like a combination of both. We had a lot of people come to us, and still do, that want to franchise us, and they want to open up locations. I'm in Texas, I'm here, I'm there, I'm overseas, I'm in Dubai, a lot from Dubai right now. And we want to franchise you. We want you to, and I was always like, wow, like, ooh, like, let's do it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And the more that I got into it, and the more that I met with these individuals and or teams or whatever, you realize a lot of times it's just like, you know, VC behind it, or you realize that it's like a different economic play than your goals. Like my goal is to support my family and to like create a lasting brand that, you know, their goals aren't that. It's like the Red Lobster story kind of ish deal. Not exact, obviously, but, and then you're like, wait a second, like, is it worth, forget giving up equity, forget giving up, who cares about that? It's cap time. Table and whatever. Like, who cares about that? It's time. And will it work? And will it resonate? And can I dumb the brand down enough to make it translatable? And the answer to that is, yeah, I can. Is it worth the time and effort to do that? And at what time is it right? So like when I first opened up, it was like, create something cool that I enjoy, that I actually like to do. I had other business at the time, so it wasn't like the only thing I was doing. And then I really liked it. And then I got into it. And if I like something,
you're going to do more of it.
Yeah, I'm going to do more of it.
You know what's interesting? I love studying brands in the restaurant space. And I'm sure everyone's aware of Raising Cane's.
Oh yeah.
And that's not a franchise concept. They own every single location. Literally company owned.
Big Panda.
Correct. And I think they're now up to like 700 locations. And so I was listening to this podcast to learn more about how, because the average unit sales of Raising Cane's are just through the roof. I think they're like north of $6 million per location at this point. And this is not leading to a question, but maybe get a reaction.
Yeah.
This guy Todd expanded to 700 locations. All of them, most of them, very successful. And they asked him a very simple question of like, what do you attribute this to? And he said, 1, not franchising.
Right.
2, keeping the most simple menu concept. Like their menu is 3-4 items.
Simple.
That's it. And then that allows you to do that at scale, repeat it and step and repeat in such a way that you can deliver a consistent, great experience to customers at 100%. 100 locations, 400 locations. And so, yeah, I think that's something that I've been thinking a lot about, because I talk to so many shop owners, pizzeria owners, and restaurant owners who want to franchise. And so maybe say more about why you chose to kind of hold off on that.
So, I mean, my menu's crazy. But, I have friends in the diner business they think my menu is tame.
Tiny.
Right.
Diners are just everything.
Right. And I have other people in the pizza business that think I'm an absolute fucking lunatic because my menu's crazy. But what they don't understand a lot of times is that, I'm hub and spoking my sauces. So I have a commissary. We produce them at scale. We have economies of scale that are working on our side because of buying power and because of production and tools that we have. But on top of that, the diversity of my menu, although it seems absolutely crazy, like the one-offs would be like the Wagwan pizza, producing a curry dough. Mm-hmm. That's like the outlier. But the rest of the menu is more or less in line with what I do.
Yeah. It's
bread for subs. Mm-hmm. It's dough for pizza. It's sauce, cheese, proteins, garnishes, veggies. And it is a little bit of like a heavy lift on the inventory management side, but that comes down to like controls. Yep. And over time I've learned, like, I know I want Fernando in Atlantic City. I want Fernando to be in the shop to take care of customers as best as possible. But you know what? Out of his 40-ish hours, how about I just like knock off 3 hours a week and say, you know what? You're not going to be in the shop. Get the pizza guy in early or whatever it is. He's a kitchen manager, Get someone in early to do a little bit of heavy lifting. I need you to just do food ordering, inventory, and I'm going to supply you the quant. You just got to fill it out. And like, there's other tools out there now that can address this. Margin Edge, Extra Chef, whatever. Yep. But those 2-3 hours a week across the board with all my locations helps us extremely to a degree where we can maintain this level of craziness, keep things fresh, have the diversity of the menu, the variance of all these things, produce it and make the margin we need to, and not make the employees crazy that are the pizza makers that, like, I have pizza makers that come in like, oh yeah, I do this, I have these awards and this and this. And I'm like, that's awesome. I don't have any of those things, by the way. So good for you. Yeah. Second of all, sure. And they work for like 30 minutes and they're like, oh, I'm out of here. Mm. And then you're like, why? And they're like, well, because I make cheese, margarita, pepperoni, blah, blah, blah. And
because like, you need to hire Tony Boloney's.
And I'm like,
They're not Tony Boloney's.
But I'm like, you know what? I have an idea. I'll pay you for the rest of the day. You don't want to be here? It's not your job. You can go. But be here for the rest of the day. I want you to be in with us. And after another like half an hour, they realize like, oh, it's actually not that crazy. Yeah. And it's not so hard to produce these things. And the variants.
It's just a combination of ingredients. But the ingredients are consistent.
And like our technique is different. The way we toss dough is different than most pizzerias. Yeah. The way that we proof our dough is different than most pizzerias. The way that we make our fresh mozzarella, we make it in-house. We have one dairy farm in Vermont that supplies us the curd, or the milk to make the curd, which we have a certain pH level to. Like, all those things play into it. And ultimately, as long as you can get into that mode or mantra, then you're going to be able to adapt to it, and it won't be that difficult. So, like, to me, at scale, that's not like the problem for me. The problem is that for franchising is that, to support a franchise, it's a heavy lift. You need tons of infrastructure. You need tons of admin. You need really, really, really tight controls, because ultimately it's not just about your brand doing well and people liking it, which is like the most important thing for me, but then also the person who's buying the franchise has to make money. They have to be successful. You want to make them successful. And if they're not in the system or in the mode or really understand it, it is a long road, and it requires a lot of money to facilitate that. And to me, it's like over time, I've dipped my feet into it so many times with so many big companies that do big things and have thousands of locations, and they still call me. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know.
It's tough. When you think about the pizza community, pizzeria community, and you think about other pizzeria owners you either admire or view as competition, what's your approach to other pizzeria owners? Is it, hey, I'm close with a lot of people and we learn from each other? Or is it, hey, I'm doing my own thing, you're doing your own thing, and we're competing, and, I respect you, but, I'm not spending any time with you?
So put it this way. My favorite pizzeria on earth is Federici's or Frankie Fed's in Freehold, New Jersey. Yep. I grew up in Freehold, so like it's a little bit of a nostalgic thing for me, but I love their pizza. I love Patsy's in Harlem. Love their pizza. It's a combination of things. It's not just the pizza. It's, there's a lot of things. The environment,
the vibe, the whole thing,
Like, I love Lucali's, and I'm close with Mark, and I'm close, friendly-ish with the owner of Federici's and Frankie Fed's and whatever. But I just love pizza. and I love food. So to me, I have no problem going into a competitor and just like enjoying their pizza. It's different than my pizza. But I will say that over the years, like I love Pizza Expo. It's fun to go to. But ultimately, I sort of regret it halfway through or a couple minutes through. And not because I don't like the expo. It's a great program, great facilitation of vendors, whatever. But I turn around at a booth, I'm like talking to someone about something, and a bunch of like dudes are like, yeah, what's up? I'm from like old Lorenzo's. I'm just making up a name.
Yeah.
My grandfather started this thing in 1962. You know, I seen your taco pizza, I seen the pizza, the bone in the rib thing, whatever it is. You know, like we've been making pizza so long, we do it traditional way, blah, blah, blah. And like they're like annoyed by me.
I call them purists, pizza purists.
They're not even purists. They're just like salty.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah, I can't wait to try your pizza someday. You know, they're in like Milwaukee or I don't know where the hell they are. And they're like, yeah, but let me tell you something. My grandfather worked so hard. He came over from this country and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yo, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like I do care. It's great. Good for your grandfather. Yeah. That's amazing. My grandmother's father came over from Naples, Carpenter Romano, with like no money in his pocket. Yeah. His brother married, or his cousin, his grandfather was Pope Leo XIII. They all had fucking money. My grandfather didn't have money. He came into like great-grandfather, came into like Panama, worked on the fucking canal, came up to this country, lived in Newark, New Jersey. Like, I get it. There's a story behind everything. And I appreciate what you do. That is amazing. And I'm sure I would love your pizza. But, yo, back the fuck off. I don't care. And why do you care so much about what I do?
Yeah.
And they see maybe we're busy. They see that we're popular. They see whatever it is. And I'm like, yo. But then there's a lot of other people out there that are the complete opposite at Pizza Expo, you know? And pizzeria operators are coming to me, dude, I love your shit. You're crazy as hell. I can't believe you can get away with that or whatever it is. And that's refreshing to me. And I love it. So then I'm like, halfway through the expo, and I'm like, fuck, I got to get out of here. And then like I keep walking, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's not so bad. Yeah. And then like, you know, whether it's like Mike Kurtz, I went to college with him at UMass, Mike's Hot Honey.
Yep.
You know, like he's a great person in general. Plus, he's a great part of the community. Scott Wiener, Scott Pizza Tour is like close with him. Plus, he's a great advocate and, you know, great in the community. Then you have like Alex from Pie to Pie podcast. And, you know, you have other people in the industry. And then you have other people that hit me up on Instagram all the time that are pizzerias that I know, that I'm like, I kind of see, or they're on my radar just because I want to eat their pizza. And they're like, dude, I love your shit. I can't wait to come out. And you get that, and you're like, wow, this is refreshing. Like, this is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Or like there's a thing that they started on Instagram where it was like a chat. I think I hit. Yeah.
Well, you're in this like group of like New Jersey
1,000. I don't even know. And like it's 1,000. So I renamed the group like New Jersey Pizza Gods or something like that. I saw that. That was awesome. Like Gianni's, and there's like whoever it is in that group that I've never eaten at, don't really know them. And they're like, yeah, let's talk business because we all got to win together because this is a tough business. Yep. And that's where they're like, hey, we're getting murdered on pizza boxes. And I'm like, oh, I got something for you. Slice, started whatever. And then they're all like, wait, are you serious? I can't wait to get rid of this other company. And I can't. And I'm like, yo, I got
step by step.
This is the plug. But it was surprising. They were all very supportive. And they all still hit me up. We're on the group chat. I don't know, once a day or once every few days. And they're in my shop. Hey, Mike, there's someone here from this pizzeria in Asbury. I'm like, oh shit,
it's amazing though.
I'll be right down. I'm in the office. It's awesome. Yeah. They get it though. Yeah, like I get that. They get that. A lot of people don't get that, and it's this like protectionist sort of mentality. It's like, dude, first of all, the industry's so big.
It's
Second
huge.
of all, like unless you're doing some nefarious shit, just do your thing.
How would you say the industry or running a shop has changed in the last 10 to 15 years, specifically around the emergence of digital technology?
Yeah.
You know, I think 15 years ago it was no big deal to run a pizza shop with a cash register. Now it's like, what? Cash register?
Yeah. It was impossible. Right? You think technology, whatever it is. And over the years, we started adopting whether it was like a digital phone system that had a queue in calling. So you called up and then the customers were just queuing. You picked it up when you could. Yep. And the customers knew in the message, hey, we're really busy right now. Order online or
hold on and we'll get there. Yeah.
To me, it's always like, I tell my managers, if you don't address the customer or you don't pick up the phone, They're not in our world yet. Yeah, they're in the shop. They're in line 30 deep, whatever it is. It sucks for them. I want to service them quicker, but ultimately, that's what it is.
Can't sacrifice quality.
Like, it's all over.
Yep.
It all falls apart.
Yep.
And technology's helped so much with that. I will say, though, like that quant that I sent you, it is so eye-opening because I was so easy to adopt any technology that would help operations in capturing a sale, flipping a customer, converting that to a sale, looking at the quant behind it, and just really making it easier for my employees to properly facilitate what we do. Unfortunately, you get into a trap where it becomes like almost too easy, and you realize like, wait, maybe I'm not making money, which is like the third-party apps. You're like, wait a second, and that quant, it shows like you are actually not making money.
I really want to publish that to show, the cost per order on some of these channels. So I call them channels: Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub. These are all different channels. Yeah. We call them third parties. Then you have your in-house channel. You have your phone channel.
Cash, credit card. Cash.
And then each one of these has an average order value. Each one has somewhat of a customer order frequency number. Right. But then each one has a cost. And the cost part is what most people don't look at. Did you see? They just look at the top line.
And you should share this. I have no problem.
I would love to.
Did you see where it said the price that we'd have to charge just to be at the same level as cash?
Of profit, yeah.
32%, 35%, 28% raise in price.
Yep.
And like, yes, you have to bump your price up a little bit for most third parties, not Slice. But then you look at it and you're like, wait a second, like this is like a survival mode style exercise. But then you're like, wait a second, forget survival mode, forget unit economics, forget business. You're fucking the customer. The customer ultimately has to pay that price. And this is not a free market economy-ish sort of exercise. This is really a microeconomic unit play on every single order. And then you're like, wait a second, like, holy shit. Like,
I will tell you,
this is COVID times where like the plastic was shortage or Russia war and the glass and like.
To me, it is alarming at how often I'll speak with shop owners and their first default is no big deal on the cost. I'm just passing it to the customer. But the customer also has a budget. And I think what most don't understand is that every time you raise a price or every time you pass a fee on, you're limiting the number of customers who can afford your product.
100%.
And maybe they'll still buy it, but instead of buying it once a week, they'll buy once a month. But basically, the lifetime value of the customer just goes down. And so there is a price, even though it may not be coming out of your pocket directly. It is coming out of the pocket indirectly. 100%. And everyone just sort of misses that, and it's kind of surprising.
The fucked up part behind all that is that, A, they miss it, but B, and I'm at fault of that too, by the way.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that you try to pivot your customer, you try to explain to them, hey, listen, you can still order from these other apps, but we prefer you to order from Slice or in-house or whatever it is. The adoption of that sometimes is so difficult that even with that communication, even with you putting it out there with a disclaimer, and even though they have the option to do it, I think people are in such like this muscle memory sort of mode where it's so easy to flip up one of those apps and do it, where they don't realize until they get to the checkout. And then they say, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? It's like $68 for 2 subs and a pizza. And then will they then put in the extra work to go onto Slice or go to our website and realize that really it's like $42 or whatever? I'm making numbers up. That is a very tough thing to ask from a customer.
It's twofold though, because I think there's another aspect that is often missed, and I'll explain it quite simply, which is whenever you're trying to change a customer's behavior from Uber Eats, let's call it, or DoorDash, to your own channel, or to the channel of choice that you choose, you have the efforts that you're making, which is telling the customer to make the change.
Right.
But in parallel, you are competing with their machine of CRM.
Of course.
Because they're also telling the customer to stay there. And now the question is, who's going to win? You with your,
postcards
sort of from time to time messaging where you're like telling the customer next time order here, or a company with 10,000 employees whose sole job is to keep the customer in that product. And when they're feeling like they're overpaying, they're going to put out some discount
100%
from time to so like
they'll run you over.
Yeah, so it's not just a convenience, it's just the fact that these companies have an army of people holding on to that customer in that channel.
Listen, I just had a conversation with all the other third-party apps, and I did an audit of everything because I was like, the numbers just don't make sense.
Yeah.
I kind of want to like just cut it off, you know? The reality is that like the train it's in the station already. It's already there. You can't sort of get around it, but there are alternatives to it.
Yeah.
And if you could leverage those alternatives and you could figure out a way to, slowly
move the customer over to the channel of choice,
then the channel of choice could be there every day.
Yep.
The problem is sometimes is that the customer is so embedded in these things.
That's right.
And then they get these coupons that, by the way, all my third-party apps 8 months ago, no discounts, no promos, no anything, because the quant just does not work.
Right.
I'm literally losing 30%, 35% on a sale. Mm-hmm. I'm not making money. I'm like actually losing money. So cut off any promos. I'm going to raise my prices a little bit, whatever. All of a sudden, we get our statement in, and I'm looking through it, which most operators don't have like such time to do. And I'm like, wait a second, $20 off because they spent $100 plus the fee plus. And I call the rep up. I'm like, yo, what's this? Oh yeah, it was a promo discount that we did. I'm like, well, who's paying for that?
You are.
Me, but I was like, I cut everything off. Well, this is different because they're like a plus customer. And I'm just like, dude, like, do you not understand? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I am losing money.
Yep.
If you, in your job, everything you did took $1 away from your stack of dollars, would you keep doing it? No. We'll work on it together. And it's like,
yeah,
it's tough.
That's the nature of the industry.
That's what it is. It's cannibalistic.
Yeah.
And I get it. Some of my other friends that own like these full scale restaurants are like, I'm thinking about doing it because we have some guys that are extra.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you're a full scale restaurant. You do 2,000 covers a night. You have 3 bars or whatever it is. First of all, I don't think you need that, but regardless, people want it and you're going to do it. Well, think about it. $100 sale. My food cost is 30%. I've already paid the labor. They're already there. My overhead's already paid. It's kind of sunk at that point.
It's a very
different model. They're charging me 30%. I'm like, yeah. So I walk away with $40 end of the day in my pocket. I'm like, right. It's $40 that maybe you wouldn't otherwise have if you don't focus on it and make it its own facilitation. But at this point, we're a pizzeria. That's what we do.
Different business model.
Totally different business model.
I speak to it as well. A full service restaurant, their primary business model is the dining room. And their dining room, they have it all under control. They're managing it themselves. And so third-party delivery is a nice to have. Whatever it does, it does. The business doesn't like live or die by it.
Right.
A pizza shop lives and dies by takeout and delivery.
That's it.
And so the analogy I use is, would a full-service restaurant outsource the dining room? What if you're a full-service restaurant and a third party comes and runs your dining room at a 30% cost? Would you do that?
Right. The answer is no. Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah, and it really is eye-opening, and you can share that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's just like, these are the real numbers. There's no way around it. There's no like smoke and mirrors. And when I show people, by the way, I haven't shown like anyone that. I showed you that, and like my buddy that runs a large scale company, and he loves quant too, so we share stuff back and forth. But in general, people don't believe me, and I'm just like, I have the quant to prove it. And
you have the business. You're looking at the data
in front of my face. I don't share on the and they're like, holy shit. And I'm like, yes, these are the real numbers. I know, but if I didn't make the sale, I wouldn't get the $40. And I'm like, whoa, stop.
Yeah.
How much percentage of your business now is electronic API, whatever it is? And they go through and they're like 50%. That's like what I hear in general.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So you just answer your own question.
Yep.
50% of your business, you're getting hit 30%.
That is 50% of your whole
blended,
business.
Do a blended thing. You don't need to do like weighted averages. You don't need to get into any crazy, economic. It's easy. It's really simple. And they're like, holy shit. I'm like, what do you expect out of your year to take home end of day? And the answer is, holy shit, I'm not making money. And it's like, it's scary. Yep. It's a scary proposition.
Very scary. Mike, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We'll have to do more of this.
Yeah,
Maybe next time we'll do it remotely.
Yeah.
But, appreciate you coming in.
And we got mozzarella sticks for your entire staff.
Oh, thank you. Amazing.
Everyone.
Yeah, we'll have fun with it. Thanks, man.